What's up everyone and welcome back to HateWatchers. Today we continue on with our breakdowns and reviews of House of the Dragon with episode 6, Small Folk. Let's get right into the breakdown, which means spoilers ahead. We open up with the Lannister brothers traveling circus, taking their lions to the animal dentist at Golden Tooth Dental Services. Aemond is mad that Jason Lannister has requested that he fly out on Vhagar and come pay the exorbitant dental bill. Alicent is being disruptive during class, whispering little jokes while Aemond's eye patch is turned toward the room. Aemond sends Criston Cole on a field trip to Harrenhal, hoping to end the war there. Alicent tries to sneak out quickly, but Aemond stops her and tells her to stay after class. He goes on to suspend her from the class, flexing his authority before she wipes some peanut butter off his cheek and tells him what a big boy he's being. Corlys is admiring his new pin when Rhaenyra comes in and sees it and is like, shit. Did I leave that in the box I gave him? And she decides to just play it cool and go with it. She informs Ser Steffon Darklyn that he has won the raffle to become a dragon rider, and some on the council can't believe they lost. She tries to go over the dangers and liability waiver and stuff, but he's like, fuck yeah dude, who cares? Let's do it. Daemon finds himself in another flashback and is like, let me out of here! It's been 4 episodes! Sir Simon Strong lets him out, and Daemon, repaying the favor, checks Sir Simon for cavities and recommends he make an appointment with Golden Tooth. Daemon is finally done with this business trip, rushing to catch his dragon out of town, but Alice informs him that all the systems are down and all flights are grounded, so they sit and wait at the terminal. Rhaenyra and her team walk Darklyn through the mounting instructions, but he's barely listening to them. Seasmoke saunters up and is like, sup, dudes, let's roll out. But Steffon approaches and says, dude, let's get lit, which Seasmoke confuses for a command, leaving Darklyn super lit for the rest of his life. Corlys asks Alan why he's not working, and Alan tells him he won't work until Palestine is freed. And Corlys is like, you guys are still doing that? Ulf is trying to enjoy some nice gruel, while these two chatty Cathys won't shut the hell up. But he perks up when they mention that Queen Rhaenyra has a surprise in store for King's Landing. Meanwhile, Rhaenyra's counselor is pleading with her, telling her that she might get further if she smiled more, and she slaps the disrespect out his mouth. Feeling empowered, she grabs a sword and acts real hard until someone walks in on her. The head hooker tells Rhaenyra King's Landing is ready to turn to her side, and that the sword makes her butt look good, which makes Rhaenyra uncomfortable. The commoners are out of food and getting unruly, yelling for Aegon to end his campaign and drop out. Aemond visits Aegon, who's really rethinking his Darth Vader arc, and Aemond leans in to apply Neosporin and pressure for Aegon to drop out of the race. A sand farmer finds a ship sent by Queen Rhaenyra packed to the gills with cookies and cream pies, with many more on the horizon, sponsored by Ships Ahoy. Alicent tries to spend some time with Aegon, but she gets gas when she tries to care about others.
I'm sorry.
Then she walks out by the horses to disguise her stench, but she can't hide it from her brother. So she takes the opportunity to talk his ear off, not getting the hint when he tries to walk away 4 times. Alicent, Mother of the Year, asks what her own 16-year-old son Daeron is like, and Gwaine describes him as a real horn dog, just slaying chicks left and right, which brings a slight smile to her face. Alicent visits Helaena, who's busy torturing her caged bugs, to invite her to church, cause Lord does she need Jesus. The city smithy is hungry and considers going Korean style on this dog, but the dog is saved when the town erupts with word that Rhaenyra is giving out cream pies down by the beach. While the mob rushes to the shore, the smith wants to eat healthier, taking off this guy's head for a head of lettuce. Alicent and Helaena are rushed out of the cathedral by Secret Service, who does a bang-up job per usual, eventually getting the 2 queens chucked into the carriage like sides of beef. Larys tells Aegon his days of running after butterflies and hookers are over, and he must now learn to use his mind. He goes on to tell him that he needs to prepare to be bullied, with people calling him things like the Cripple King, or Aegon the Kentucky Fried Bitch, or Darth Lamer, or Sunfire's Rider the Fired Son, or Crippled Fuck, or Aegon Targaryen, or Sir Strong reports that Grover Tully is dead. He died peacefully of old age the second Alice Rivers arrived to help him. Seasmoke sees Adam and turns back around to mess with him, talking shit with each pass. Broke bitch. Sand scraper. Docksucker. Is your dad still out getting cigarettes? Seasmoke finally corners him and says, I'm just messing with you, Laenor. It's me, Seasmoke. Hey look, you dyed your hair. Mysaria tells Rhaenyra how she got her scars, and Rhaenyra says, "You poor thing. Here, let me massage your lips with my lips, and I'll massage your tongue with my tongue." That's how platonic friends comfort each other. They get interrupted before the scissors come out as Rhaenyra is informed that the CrowdStrike problem has been resolved. Rhaenyra finally boards her delayed flight to go investigate reports of a dragon jacking near Driftmark, and the episode comes to an end. Well, we've reached that point in the video where we have to decide if this episode was a great watch or a hate watch. But I'm inclined to give this week another debate watch. It had some real good scenes from some unexpected characters, with more development and progression than we had last episode, but I just feel like too many storylines are talking in circles at this point. Like we're reliving the same scenes 5 or 6 times. Daemon's story this season is the obvious example, but even the scenes on Rhaenyra's frustrations have really started to pile up. Luckily, it looks like both of these storylines have hit a breaking point and we're leaving them in the past. Focusing in on Daemon, his arc could have been fully realized in 2, maybe 3 episodes if I'm being generous. But it's pretty clear to me that they didn't have much for him to do for most of the season, and they needed to drag his haunted Harrenhal hallucinations out so all the storylines come together at the same time. It'll probably pay off, but it makes it tough to stay engaged in the meantime. There are important scenes that see him confront the errors of his past and how he's pushed away those close to him, and they seem to be fundamentally changing the character, which is great development, but we could have used some variety. Just something to change it up. They could have, for example, had his dragon suffering some of the same distress and delusions that he was, given the pseudo-magical bond dragons have with their riders. I think that would have been cool to see. Related to those scenes, we got confirmation that Alice Rivers is a fully real person, despite her disappearing act last week. Now, how much she was actually physically present for all of Daemon's hallucinations, who's to say? Another thing I take some issue with is how the idea of the dragon seeds is being handled. From what I can gather, it's not handled much better in the book, so this may be a light criticism of that as well. But I feel like we could have been given more time and scenes with some of the people who the show is alluding may become dragon riders. Especially when you look back at some of the repetitive, unnecessary scenes we've had up to this point. I think that would have made these characters feel a bit more deserving, you know? Don't you, as a viewer, just feel like riding and bonding with a dragon is this incredible privilege that should be bestowed on deserving people? Like with Adam, for example, I think bonding with Seasmoke would have played better if we knew more about the character and his possible background going into things. Off the top of my head, I can only remember 3 scenes with the guy. Also, I don't think it's smart to show the audience an apparent inconsistency in the dragon bonding process as this episode did. There's more to the bonding process than shown here, but the audience is led to believe that fear plays a very large role, which is why Steffon Darklyn supposedly failed in fiery fashion. But then we see Adam running for his life, but being able to claim the dragon anyway. It's just something that gives viewers an out. It creates an opening for them to be taken out of the story where they have to weigh this apparent inconsistency. It also takes away agency from Adam as a character, with the dragon seeking him out. Showing him more on the front foot would have played better for me, personally. On the positive side, there were definitely some great scenes to be found in the episode. Seeing Alicent complete her descent into uselessness and powerlessness was great for her arc. She finally seeks to be the loving mother Aemond needed a decade ago, but it's far too late. Without her father running the show, or at least a more pliable ruler in Aegon, she's been fully cast aside by the more strong-willed Aemond. And that same dichotomy between the brothers came into play in the other great scenes that involved Larys. The clubfoot got verbally clubbed by Aemond at the small council meeting, making it clear to him that Aemond won't be open to the same manipulations he was able to employ on Aegon previously. And with Alicent on the outs, he has to turn his attention back to Aegon. He knows he can bend Aegon to his designs, but with the ailing king being broken, physically and mentally, he must first teach him how to enforce his will in a new manner, if he is to survive and be useful to Larys. The scenes really helped round out Larys, a character that we had really only seen one side of previously. It's also great to see the common folk starting to turn into a proper mob. And of course, seeing Paddy Considine back as Viserys was a treat. And the last aspect worthy of praise for this episode was the attention to detail. Seeing Alan wear a scarf and shave his head to hide his silver hair, having the Dragon Tamers singing the same song Daemon sang to Vermithor in Season 1, seeing Alicent get her arm cut in the same place Rhaenyra's was cut in the first season, it shows the care the creators have put into the small things, and it helps make the 2 seasons feel like a real, continuous story, as well as paying back the audience for paying attention. And then we came to the end, the infamous Rhaenyra and Mysaria kiss. I didn't care for this. If it wasn't perturbing enough to have a makeout sesh after Mysaria talked about being sexually assaulted and made barren, it also just comes out of nowhere. I understand that Rhaenyra is desperate for any kind of companionship, and Mysaria is incredibly vulnerable in this moment, but can't two people just be close without being shipped? To make matters worse, the kiss wasn't in the original script, and the actresses supposedly thought it just felt right to make this revision. Well, I'm glad it felt right to them, because they're some of the only people it felt right to. And a specific relationship between the two doesn't appear in the book, further cementing the idea as a not very good or necessary fanfiction. I'd be interested to see what the original outline for a 10-episode Season 2 looked like. With so much in the way of elongated storylines, I have to imagine that a 10-episode season's endpoint would have been further out than where this season will end, because I don't see how the events of this season could have been stretched any further. I was excited in the beginning to see the Lannisters on the march, and there are some very bright moments in this episode, but that excitement slowly whittled down until the ending, which left me with a salty taste in my mouth, just like the actresses. And when you have to grapple with opposing good aspects and bad aspects in the episode, it has to go down as a debate watch. What did you think about this episode? Are you expecting things to heat up a lot in the last 2 episodes? Personally, I think all of the action is going to be saved for the finale. But let us know your thoughts in the comments. And remember to hit that thumbs up if you liked the video, and subscribe to HateWatchers to stay up to date on House of the Dragon. Thank you for getting super lit with us today, and we'll catch you on the next one.